Hello friends, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you step by step how to watercolor this jam. So you're going to start off with grabbing your supplies. You're going to need some watercolor paper, a jar of water, some paintbrushes, a paper towel, your watercolor paints. I'll link all the supplies I'll be using directly below in the description box if you want to check them out. I'm also going to spray my palette with some water just to activate the paints, and I just got that little spray bottle from the Dollar Tree. And then we're going to start off with sketching our little jar beforehand. I have a recent doodle video on how to doodle a jar of jam where I kind of explain it a little bit more, but I'll try and do my best here. So you just do a square shape for the base of the jar and round the corners at the bottom, and then you're going to do little humps at the top for like the wrapper part on a jam jar, and then you're just going to make a straight line across for the top of that, and then you're just going to make the little lid like I'm doing here. And I liked to kind of round the corners the best I could just to make it look more realistic. And then I'm working on the label here, which is just 2 lines across, and then I'm going to mostly erase the pencil so that you can't see it through the watercolor painting. And that is it. I'm not doing any details with my pencil. I was just doing like the basic shapes, and then here I'm mixing my colors. So I'm going to do a strawberry jam just because I feel like it looks really cute and bright, but you could do whatever you want. So I'm going to need a red for that, a green, and then a brown for like the wrapper part on the jar, and that's what I'm going to start out with. So I'm going to take my paintbrush and a really light wash of like that brownish yellow color for the wrapper or label across the middle of the jar. And I'm just going to make sure that it's all one shade and kind of drag it throughout. So here I'm adding a little bit more color to the wrapper in the center, just adding a little bit more pigment, but you don't want to do too much of it. So I'm just watering it down, slowly adding a little bit till it gets to the color that I like. And then once it has done that, I'm going to let it dry. And since I'm going to let that dry, I'm going to move on to the little lid part at the top, which I'm using the same color, but I'm just using more pigment for it. So it's going to be a little bit darker, and I'm just repeating the same thing, filling in that straight line the best I can with my paintbrush. And then I'm going to drop in a little bit more color to make it a bit darker. Now we are going to move on to the jam part. So take your red color or whatever color you're doing for your jam and go ahead and water it down a bit and then start spreading it around. So because we sketched it out beforehand, it makes this part a little bit easier, and I find it really relaxing, kind of like creating your own coloring book when you sketch it out beforehand, but I don't always take the time to do that. But here I'm just going to fill in around our little humps for like the wrapper part, and I'm just going to fill it all in with the red color for my strawberry jam. Continue adding some water to spread the color around and make it as even as possible with still incorporating that watercolored look. I'm taking the jam color right up to the edge of the little wrapper there in the center of the jar, and then I'm doing the same thing for the bottom. And remember to add those rounded corners because I really feel like that makes the jam jar look really cute and gives it some character. Now I'm taking a gray kind of washed out black color, and I'm going to do the top of the lid here. And I know there's like 2 little lids it looks like, but I just felt like it added something more and a little bit more detail to the jar. So for that, I'm just doing the same thing, taking like this grayish black color that I just kind of mixed together on my palette and just spreading that around. And then I'm going to drop a little bit more pigment in just to add some different shadows. Alright, I'm going to zoom you guys in really close here so you can see this, but here I'm working on the little strawberry for the details. You can tell it is strawberry jam, and for this I'm just making kind of like a rounded V shape and then rounding out the top for the strawberry, and then I'm just taking some green and adding some little spikes to the top for the leaves, and that's about it. And then I'm going to work on like the little wrapper part on the jam jar, and I'm just going to take the same color that I did for the center like wrapper label part on the jar and just color in that whole section and make it pretty watered down so it's pretty light, and I'm just going to color in that whole spot. Now I'm just going to go back in and add some finishing details. So here I'm taking red again and going over the red spots just to add some shadow and more detail, doing the same thing with the gray and just getting a little bit closer to the edge and bringing the paint color in a little bit towards the center, and just to add a little bit more shadow. And I'm doing it all on the right hand side just so it looks like the shadows coming from the same spot. Doing the same thing with the brown and just washing it out with my brush using the water to blend it into the color that is already there. And then I'm going to add a few little dark dots to the strawberry for a little bit of detail. And then I'm doing the same thing with a darker green shade just to add some more details to the leaves. I just finished up a little bit more shading on the side, and now I'm going to take my favorite white gel pen, which I'll link below for you guys, and add a few dots to the strawberry and the gray part of the lid. And that is it. I really hope you enjoyed this video on how to watercolor jam. Let me know in the comments down below if you liked it and if you would like more like this. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who you think would enjoy it, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!